The most common question I get in my Pokemon Sleep Discord is this Pokemon any good? Well, not that Pokemon specifically, but they'll attach a screenshot of their particular Pokemon that they got, or they want to compare two Pokemon and they want to know which is better, or is this Pokemon any good? So I thought, why not create a guide that's going to help you determine if your Pokemon is any good? So this guide is going to focus mainly on Subskills and Natures, because there are tier lists out there that rank Pokemon based on how good they are, but the Subskills and the Natures are actually just as important, if not more important, to determine if a Pokemon is good or not. A Pokemon that is low on the tier list but has insane Subskills is actually higher rated than a really good Pokemon with really terrible Subskills and Natures. As I'm sure you're aware, each Pokemon has 5 Subskills that can either be white, blue, or gold, or common, uncommon, and rare. But it's a little bit more detailed than that, and not all gold skills are created equally. Let's just get this out of the way. Berry Finder S is insane. It is easily the best Subskill that you can get in the game, and it can take a really bad Pokemon to be actually an S tier kind of Pokemon. If you can get Berry Finder S at level 10, or even at level 25, it changes everything. It doesn't even matter so much what the other Subskills, or even what its nature is. A good Pokemon with Berry Finder S is insane. Check out this Flaffy that I've got. So I caught it as a Mareep and I saw that it had Berry Finder S at level 10. So immediately I leveled it up, immediately I evolved it, so it gets 2 Greppa and 1 Herb. Flaffy is normally a skill specialist, but now it's essentially become a berry specialist with an insane main skill. This is something I use all the time, even if Greppa isn't a preferred berry for Snorlax, because it's been able to flex on a lot of different islands and has been super useful for me. And then next, check out my wife Cyndaquil, who has also got Berry Finder S at level 10. Now, Cyndaquil is already an insane Pokemon, finding 2 Leppa berries, but now it finds 3, which means whenever Leppa is going to be Snorlax's favorite berry, this Pokemon will dominate. This is something I've told my wife she really needs to invest in and definitely use for long term. Essentially, Berry Finding S is the first thing you want to look for when you get a new Pokemon. If you have it at level 10 or level 25, it is insane. Keep in mind that obviously you can get it at level 100 as well, but investing a Pokemon all the way to level 100 is a massive achievement. So maybe it's not so useful at the moment, but it's still good to keep in mind, but ideally you want it at level 10 or 25. Okay, let's rank some of the other gold skills next. The next bracket or group I'm going to have is Helping Bonus, because it's a really good skill that helps out the entire team and is useful on every single Pokemon. Next is Skills Level Up 2. Now this is really good to boost your main skill, but it kind of depends on the Pokemon that you're using. It's definitely a lot more useful on some Pokemon compared to others. Something to keep in mind though is that the maximum level that your main skill can go to is level 6. If you've got a 3-stage evolution, you've got Skills Level Up 2. Don't use your main skill seed on it because yeah, that's the maximum. My next grouping is going to be Research Experience Bonus. This is what ranks up your trainer level, which is good to do because as your rank increases, you get bonus items, but the higher your rank, the higher level your Pokemon are going to be when you capture them. So in the long term, it's good to build this up. In this grouping, I'm also going to have Sleep Experience Bonus as well, which gives extra experience to the Pokemon that you're sleeping with. Now, I put those two skills together a little bit lower overall for gold skills because they only do something when you're sleeping with the Pokemon and not for the rest of the day when you're collecting berries and stuff like that. And I prefer Helping Bonus, which works all of the time. And then in the lowest tier, I'm going to have Dream Shard Bonus and Energy Recovery. I haven't had much of a problem with Dream Shards. I've always had heaps, and Dream Clusters seem pretty easy to get in this game, so I've never had much of a use for that bonus, but I think Energy Recovery is the worst gold skill in the game. Your energy caps at 100% unless you use a main skill to get it over 100%, but via Subskills, the maximum you can get is 100%. So if you're someone that's regularly sleeping really well, getting high scores 95 to 100, Energy Recovery actually doesn't do anything. So it's actually a bit of a waste of a skill when you could have something much better. So there's actually quite a few blue skills I would prefer over Dream Shard Bonus and especially over Energy Recovery. Something also to keep in mind that a Subskill seed cannot be used on a gold skill because that is maximized. While gold skills are pretty similar in usefulness depending on the Pokemon that you're using, blue skills are a little bit different, and depending on the specialty of the Pokemon determines if the blue skill is useful, and some blue skills can actually be harmful to particular Pokemon. I would argue that Helping Speed M is the most useful blue skill and is something that is beneficial to every single Pokemon, and the 14% boost is pretty nice. But the rest of the blue skills depend on the Pokemon that you're using. Obviously, if you've got an ingredient specialist, Ingredient Finder M is really useful and can increase the chance of getting those ingredients rather than getting the berries on those Pokemon, which is what you want. But this skill can actually harm a berry specialist. If you've got a berry specialist, you don't want it to find the ingredients, you want it to find the berries. So this skill is not good on a berry specialist. If you have a good main skill Pokemon, Skill Level Up S and Skill Trigger M are really useful. But keep in mind that once the main skill has been procced on a Pokemon, there is an invisible cooldown, so it can't be used for a while. So once it's been used, that sub-skill is essentially useless until that cooldown is over and it can be procced again. Compared to something like Helping Bonus, which is always is useful 100% of the time. But if it's a good main skill, it is useful. Lastly is inventory up M and L, and while this can be useful, it can have some problems if you have too many of them. Look at my EV here. I have inventory up S at level 25, inventory up L at level 75, and inventory up M at level 100. So 3 out of my 5 subskills are inventory up, which leaves only 2 other subskills that can actually do something a bit more useful. I like to have at least 1 inventory up, but having 3 is way too many and you don't need such a large capacity. Now, generally you have a good idea if a Pokemon is worth investing in or not based on the blue and the gold subskills, but maybe there's a particular Pokemon you want to look at and you want to know if the white skills are good. Well, the white skills are essentially just lesser versions of the blue skills. So helping speed is really good, ingredient finder and skill trigger are good depending on the Pokemon that you're using, and inventory up can be okay if you only have 1 of them. Maybe you want to invest a subskill seed into that, but generally you're not looking at the white skills too much. Now on to natures. Like in the main series game, all Pokemon have a nature and it can alter its usability. It's been confirmed that in Pokemon Sleep, the natures have a plus or minus effect of 10%. Now this can completely change your opinion of a Pokemon, or you might think it's not that much of a deal. That is up to you. But which natures should we look for? Lonely, Adamant, Naughty, and Brave all boost speed of help, and I think this is the skill you want to boost the most. This is what can affect every single Pokemon, and every Pokemon can find an advantage in boosting the speed of help. If you have a berry specialist with Adamant, that is even better because it reduces the chance of it finding ingredients and increases the chance of it finding berries, which is what you want in a berry specialist. Ideally, you don't want to reduce the energy recovery because that essentially affects the speed of help as well. But overall, speed of help is the one that you want the most, and all 4 of these are pretty safe bets. Now, the next group depends on the specific Pokemon that you're using, but Modest, Mild, Rash, and Quiet all boost ingredient finding. So opposite to the berries, if you have an ingredient specialist, these are the ones that you want because you want to increase the chance of you getting those ingredients, but lowering speed of help is actually counterintuitive, so you don't really want Modest. Calm, Gentle, Careful, and Sassy all boost main skills, so if you're using a skill Pokemon, this can be really useful, but Calm decreases speed of help, so I don't want that one. Next, experience gains can be useful, but overall they don't help the Pokemon too much, so I don't rate this as highly as I rate the other natures. And also keep in mind that if you just happen to get that Pokemon to level 100, experience gains is essentially negated and does absolutely nothing. So overall, I don't see all that much value in Timid, Hasty, Jolly, or Naive, especially if it reduces speed of help or ingredient finding. I'd say the worst natures in the game are the ones that increase the energy recovery. So these are Bold, Impish, Lax, and Relaxed. While having high energy is important and can actually affect the speed of help, like I said earlier, unless you're using a main skill, your energy cannot go higher than 100%. And if you're someone that's regularly scoring at 100 or nearabouts, this is actually useless and actually decreases something more important. So I don't like the energy recovery. I actually don't mind the neutral natures, so Hardy, Docile, Bashful, Quirky, and Serious. It isn't a boost, but at least it doesn't decrease anything important. In the main series of Pokemon games, there are items called mints, which allows you to change the nature of your Pokemon. While these aren't in Pokemon Sleep yet, I can definitely see them being added at some point into the game, but I feel they're going to be pretty pricey and they'll probably cost a lot of sleep points or maybe even diamonds to use. But when or if these are actually introduced into the game, they give us a lot more control over the Pokemon that we're using. So you might have a shiny Pokemon which you just really want to use, but its nature is hurting it. Like I have my shiny Butterfree and my shiny Eevee, and both of their natures just hurt my soul, and I would definitely use a mint on one of these. But in summary, for natures, speed of help is ideally what you want, and boosting energy recovery is not what you're looking for. In my opinion, Brave is the best nature that you can have in a general sense, and Bold is the straight up worst nature. With all of this in mind, I hope you're able to determine if your Pokemon is any good or not. And also keep in mind that subscribing to the channel gives you an increased chance of getting Berry Finder S on your Pokemon. Thanks.